Warren Fiscal Court, Friday, January 25th, 2019 is now called to order. I want to welcome Pastor Dr. Jeff Reynolds with the First Baptist Church, who's here with us to offer prayer. And I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the invocation and remain standing as Esquire Ron Cummings will lead us in the pledge following.
Let's pray together. Father, we love you and we thank you for this day, for we know this is the day that you have made, and we rejoice and we're glad in it. And Lord, on this day, we're thankful to live in Warren County, thankful for all the many benefits and all the many blessings that you have given us through this great community. We thank you for the men and women who have been appointed to serve at this time, Lord, to continue to make this county everything it can be, and for all of the people who call this place home, that they benefit from being a part of this community. Please give this court wisdom and guidance, that they may lead according to your word, that they may lead according to your wisdom, and that all people would be blessed as a result. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Here.
Esquire Lawrence.
Here.
Esquire Gorman.
Here.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Here.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get started on the agenda, I wanted to recognize a good friend of all the fiscal courts. Isaac Myers is with us from Governor Bevan's office. We appreciate you visiting with us again today, Isaac, and always appreciate you being here, and you're welcome anytime. Please come back as often as possible and bring a check whenever possible. If there's anything you'd like to say, report or address the court on or complain about? All right, thank you. All righty, we need to approve the minutes of the fiscal court meeting of January 15th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Next item is to approve the work schedule for the Warren County Road Department.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Payne. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter. Yes.
Pardon me? Okay, thank you. Next item is to approve personnel changes for Warren County.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if there are no objections, I'd like to move to item number 22 as a courtesy to the South Central Kentucky Works, but particularly Mr. Gaines Penn, who's here working on their behalf. This is to approve Resolution 1902, authorizing the dissolution of South Central Kentucky Works, Inc., a nonprofit, non-stock Kentucky Public Corporation. Mr. Gaines.
Thank you, Judge. Just briefly, what this involves is a corporation that was formed back in 2014 by the county, the city, and some surrounding counties to help establish a new workforce investment area, I believe it's what it's called. That never materialized, but this corporation has been in existence and been helping the city and the county with its workforce development efforts since that time. The board of that corporation has come to the conclusion that we've run it, our course is run, we've completed the race. We'd like to dissolve. The board of directors passed a resolution to dissolve that corporation, but since the county and the city authorized its formation, we thought it would be appropriate to come before you to seek your consent to dissolve the corporation. It's a non-profit, tax-exempt corporation, so it's got about, when all the bills are paid, which are virtually none, there'll be about $60,000 left over, and when the recommendation from the board of directors is to transfer that to another non-profit, tax-exempt corporation, and that would be the Bowling Green Area Chamber Foundation, which is earmarked for workforce development efforts in connection with the city and the county. So that's the proposal.
I move we accept this.
We have a motion by Squire McWhorter and a second by Squire Cummings to approve. Any questions, discussion? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Penn. The next item is to approve a second and final reading of ordinance 1901, rezoning property on Matlock Road from agriculture to residential estate containing approximately 1.01 acres and presently owned by Jimmy G. Renault. Motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire McWhorter. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1902, rezoning property at 987 Briggs Hill Road from agriculture to residential estate containing approximately 1.75 acres and presently owned by Charles Coleman. Motion by Squire Young, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1903 establishing Chestnut Ridge Avenue, Silver Oak Street, and Bay Laurel Avenue located in Matlock Farm subdivision as county roads, authorizing maintenance thereon and setting speed limit thereon. Motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire Young. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve the second and final reading of ordinance 1904, establishing Cadillac Avenue, Beechwood Lane, Legacy Point Street, and Woodhaven Avenue located in Legacy Point subdivision as county roads, authorizing maintenance thereon and setting speed limit thereon.
Motion.
Motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Payne. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1905, establishing Chevy Way, Cadillac Avenue, and Dodge Street located in McKenzie Meadows subdivision, Phase 2, as county roads, authorizing maintenance thereon and setting speed limit thereon.
So moved.
Motion by Squire, was that Payne, second by Squire McWhorter. Discussion, Questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Next item is to approve second and final reading of ordinance, the next item is just simply to make part of the record, the Warren County Judge Executive Order appointing members of individuals to various standing committees of Warren Fiscal Court. If there are no objections, that's hereby ordered to be entered into the record. Next item is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1906, establishing Cadillac Court located in McKenzie Meadows subdivision Phase 3 as a county road, authorizing maintenance thereon and setting speed limit thereon. Motion by Squire Young, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Next item is to approve emergency determination in the amount of $2,220.27 to REM Company, Inc. for a replacement motor for the washing machine at the Warren County Regional Jail. Motion by Squire Cummings. Second, by Squire Payne. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve a determination in the amount of $5,000 to the Agency for Substance Abuse for supplies and expenses for training. This is paid for by a grant for the Save Our Kids Coalition.
So moved.
Motion by Squire Young, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to grant authority to advertise for a chemical detection unit for emergency management. Motion by Squire Gorman, second by Squire Lawrence. Ronnie, you want to update us on the chemical detection units? I thought we'd approved one of those.
Yes, sir, we did. Last fiscal court, you guys approved the contract. We submitted that to Homeland Security, and they told us even though it's a single source vendor for the unit, we have to physically advertise that to the public. So this is basically that, following that protocol that they've set to put it out for, if there's a device out there that is similar, they have an opportunity to bid.
Gotcha.
So that's the process.
But we shouldn't have to re-vote on it then if there are no other bids.
That's correct.
Do we have okay. We already have a motion and second.
Yes, we do.
Any other discussion? Any other questions for Ronnie? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve budget transfers for Warren County. Motion by Squire McWhorter. Second by Squire Gorman. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Next item is to grant Judge Executive authority to assign the appointment papers for Search and Rescue Coordinator Tim Robinson and the Deputy Search and Rescue Coordinator Travis Puckett. This is required every 4 years by the Kentucky Division of Emergency Management. Motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire Payne. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Next item is to make part of the record the Warren County Emergency Management 2018 Annual Report.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Payne. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve ThorGuard, the lightning detection provider, to continue providing preventative maintenance on the units that are based at Griffin Park. The 2-year maintenance agreement will be $1,100. This is a single source vendor.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Next item is to approve the 2019-2020 Kentucky Ambulance Block Grant for the Medical Center of Bowling Green. The grant judge executive authority to sign all paperwork. The medical center is requesting a grant fund in the amount of $10,000, no cost to Warren County, and we are just a pass-through conduit.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes,
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
The next item is to approve the resolution number 1903, appointing Sheriff Brett Hightower to the 1-800 radio agency.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Next item is to grant authority to advertise for generator bids for emergency management.
Motion.
Motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Gorman. Just a quick question on this. This is to replace, this is,
It's basically authorizing it's generator maintenance bids. Fiscal court awarded one for a 2-year period that expired in December of 18. This allows us to go back out and rebid that process
Okay.
for another 2 years. That includes the Justice Center, the jail, the courthouse, and the DTF office and our office. It's just for maintenance.
okay. Any questions? Okay.
Don't we have a bid process for all the volunteer fire department generators too?
That's due in mid-19. I think
Why wouldn't we combine,
Why we wouldn't we?
why would we not combine all these generators under one bid?
Jason, we did that. Come here, Jason. I think we did that last time in the process. The bidders, both bidders were lower on two separate, so we awarded two separates to save money to the county.
Yeah, our bids are not up right now, but we can combine them all.
Well, Ronnie just said that something about both of them, both bidders were the same.
No, sir. Both bidders bid on two separate parts of the contract, one for the county fire department generators and one that the county owned. And they came in cheaper on each segment, so fiscal court awarded both companies a portion of that bid. And theirs expires, I think, in July, and ours expired in December.
One said it's mobile generator, right? And the other are stationary ones at all the fire departments.
All of these are stationary with the exception of one mobile unit. They're permanently placed. But it was a significant savings enough to separate that award last time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion, second. Any additional questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve determination in the amount of $5,480 to Combat Disc Golf for the disc and, for the design and construction of the new disc golf course at Buchanan Park. As Chris Cummer is here to explain that a little bit.
Court, just like to introduce a good friend here. This is Doc Turner. Doc is the owner of Combat Disc Golf. The name Doc is referred to because Doc was a doc in the military. So we greatly appreciate him. What we want to do is just let you know that we've been looking at putting a disc golf course in at Michael Buchanan Park for quite some time. We've been looking at different designs. We tried to solicit 3 quotes. We only got 2 quotes back. In regards to the quote that we received, Doc helped to create a partnership, or actually find us a sponsor, that being Tony Walker Financial has been is willing and has accepted to be our primary sponsor for the course with Doc's cooperation, and Mr. Walker is going to contribute $5,480 and basically pay for half of the course design. We're going to be paying the $5,480, and we're going to get an exceptional course for that design. It's going to have really nice professional tee pads, all new baskets, really nice signs. Doc and his organization, business, do an outstanding job, and so I think we're going to get a premier disc golf facility at Michael Buchanan Park. It will be 18 holes. It will wrap and work around the existing facilities that we have, and then Doc has some exciting news about something that he's got going on that he's going to try to apply for 2020.
Yeah. So with the implementation of a new disc golf course at Buchanan Park and the upgrading of the existing courses that we have in Warren County, in the city and the county system, we will be eligible and qualified to place a bid with the Professional Disc Golf Association for 2021 Amateur World Championships to be held here.
Really?
And if we win that bid, of course, that will be in conjunction and cooperation with like our CVB office here and several different partnering corporations in Bowling Green and Warren County. If we win that bid, we'll see an influx in 2021 of about 12 to 15,000 people for an 8-day period. So it'll be a significant impact on the local economy. Unfortunately, that bid will only be good for 1 year, and once you get it one time, you are disqualified for 10 years. So, but we're trying to bring it here in 2021.
Motion to approve.
A second.
That is great. We're really.
I have all of the, if you guys are interested in seeing, these are the bid specifics for the Amateur World Championships for 2020. That deadline has came and gone. The 2021 RFP will be released July 1st of this year. So, but this will kind of give you an idea of
Do you
what
have
is.
copies of that we could?
I have this copy.
You
but
have one copy? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
If we could get that copy, I'm sure they'd all like to
Yeah,
see it.
absolutely.
But we've all been very supportive of this initiative.
We're
from the
very
beginning.
appreciative of that. I've got a lot of projects in disc golf, both in the city and the county, that I've been working on for quite some time now, where, you know, there's financial supporters that, or business owners that are interested in upgrading our equipment to meet the current standard that the Professional Disc Golf Association has, so that we can facilitate bigger events, better events, and potentially bring a national tour event or a pro tour event back to Bowling Green. We haven't had one here since 2006. It's a significant impact on the local economy when you have an event like that here. Obviously, we're not bringing, 100,000 people in or anything like that, but we can see with those events 12, 15, 20,000 people at a time. Those are huge events and they're huge undertakings, but we are working to get both Warren County and the city of Bowling Green to a standard to where we are capable of hosting that kind of event. So
Is that kind of event lasts for 2 days?
It's usually 8 days.
8 days.
6 to 8 days, yeah. So you have revenue generated through that entire time period.
Wow.
So bidding on them and actually getting them here takes a lot of time, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of money. But once you get them here, especially if it's a national tour or a major, once you've been awarded that, you've got it every year unless you falter. So I don't intend to falter, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm working to get bigger, better events here, and I think we can do it for sure.
Cool. We have a motion by Squire Lawrence to approve, and who was second? Second by Squire McWhorter. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Chris, this 5480 is for the construction of it too. I mean, so it was $10,000 or $11,000 that Tony's paying half of it, and we're paying the other half. So that's complete, build out and everything.
Start to finish, build out, really nice pads. Probably the nicest disc golf facility that we'll have in the county system. We're working with Doc to try to secure funding on other upgrades to the projects and other courses that we have throughout the county. So we're hopeful that in time we'll be able to come back to court and be able to do some other things at some of our other parks.
Follow-up question: if once we approve this, when would it be completed?
We're hoping to begin. Doc and I would go back out on location, do a final walkthrough of the project. We're hoping, I would be hoping to have the project completed sometime mid to late spring, and then have it open this summer for all of our constituents. So, and he's got me into disc golf now, so it's kind of cool.
It would take about 4 weeks from the start of the project to completion. And I have a copy of the actual proposal that shows the details of, the T-pads, the signs, pretty much everything start to finish. I've got 4 copies of it, but
Yeah, if you could just leave it with,
Sure.
leave it with us, we can make copies of additional copies for everybody. But we really appreciate it. We have a motion and a second. And, any other discussion? Let's call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman. Esquire Young. Esquire Cummings. Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Next item is to grant authority for the Warren County Jailer to sign an agreement in the amount of $5,000 with Greg Coker Development to purchase licensing for use of the Soft Skills Boot Camp for inmate use. This agreement will provide for unlimited use of the books, the videos, and other resources. And this is something that he's really made a pretty special deal for you.
We'll be only the second county jail to be offered this deal. The project started about 6 months ago at $30,000, and that's what the Department of Corrections paid for this program and the licensing to use all the materials and videos in the prison setting. And so when I was very interested, but then I lost interest at the $30,000 because that's a lot of money for one program. We've got multiple other programs that we offer. However, after seeing him at the conference, he did an hour-and-a-half block that most of the newer jailers in the state sat through. It's a great program. I was skeptical in the beginning, but once I sat through that, I knew we needed to do it. So he's offered us the licensing for all of the materials to teach it unlimited. As long as we're there and teaching the class, we can have the materials, videos, books, everything that's already been created for the one-time $5,000. There's no extra fees every year. And also even negotiated with him to come in and teach 3 4-hour blocks to all of our staff. So everybody that works at the jail will sit through a 4-hour block of his training. So not only can it help us develop as a staff, but they'll also understand what we're teaching the inmates. And this is an evidence-based program that the state DOC recognizes, and they also award a 30-day credit if you complete this as an inmate. So it's another building block on our program for successful reentry. So.
Motion.
Motion was Squire Lawrence, second was Squire Gorman. Just a quick question. Did I understand you're working with workforce development as well, and that new Hire ED program?
I understand this helps us there, and they also offer this program in lots of factories around. not only in Bowling Green, but around the state. Corporate America, as he calls it, he has it in other states also. They also pay a lot more than $5,000 to bring this to their company. So I think employers will recognize if they've been through this program that, you know, they've tried to help themselves as they start to reenter. So I think it'd be a great thing.
Okay. No further questions. Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve a termination in the amount of $3,164 to Knight Mechanical for a 24-month preventative maintenance programs for the mechanical HVAC at Buchanan and White Parks. This is $3,164 is per year is for both parks. Motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman. Esquire Young. Esquire Cummings. Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of crazy. It's like when pain stops, when all that noise stopped out there. It really,
Like a dentist office.
what they're doing is they're drilling holes from the basement up for the new HVAC, for that energy savings program. Pardon me?
Tom thought it was asbestos relief. I told you, Tom, it's for this. Don't worry, people.
All right, the next item is to grant authority to advertise for a request for proposal for a master plan for the Warren County Parks and Recreation Department. Did you pass out any information to everyone, or?
Yes.
You do? Good.
Kind of update everybody just on three things, if we could. They're kind of interrelated to the master plan, or to the master plan request. But what we're doing with the master plan is there's several different things out there. The master plan is basically a 12-month process to help our department create our strategic plan basically for the next 3 to 5 years. Also helps us create some long-term goals. As you all know, we've got multiple groups interested in multiple designs of different facilities within our department. To give you an idea, you should have received yesterday in your packet, we just completed our 2018 participation report. Two numbers that really struck me, and this is the first time we've had it, is we had participation on numbers that we tracked, tournaments, leagues, different things like that. Total participation for 2018 was up 76%. That's the largest one-year increase that we've experienced in my 20-plus years with the department. Also, in our gym usage and facility usage figures, this is solely based off the new system that you all allowed us to purchase with our rec track scheduling system and software. We've seen a 133% increase in facility gym usage in a 12-month period. That's the single most increase in usage by patrons and visitors to our community that we've ever experienced in our department. So with that, we're wanting to make sure that we have a strategic vision moving forward when we're looking at maintaining our operation into a framework that we can afford based on the funding that we receive. I think it will be a sizable investment, but I think it will be an investment that will allow for public interaction, public engagement, and will allow the 128,000 plus residents we have here to have direct input into our direction that we want to move forward in. With that, we've also received quotes or proposals on the feasibility study side. We're going to hopefully be able to bring that back to you all on February 4th. We want to take a little bit more time in assessing those proposals. We're in the process, have several meetings next week scheduled with the proposing companies to ask some additional questions. We will be meeting with all the magistrates to go over the proposals that we have received, and I'm available 24/7, 7 days a week to answer any questions in regards to any of that information. But it's an exciting time. I think that we need to be strategic in our approach to development and design, and I think that we're at a point kind of in our parks department to where growth and usage and citizen involvement is probably at one of the highest levels, if not the highest level, that it's been at in the years that I've been with the department. So we appreciate the community, we appreciate the support of the court, and be more than happy to answer any questions.
Chris, just one question for me. The two new gyms that we recently built. What capacity are we at in the usage of those two gyms?
We are having issues right now during peak hours, Monday through Friday from 5 to 9, and then on weekends with accommodating the usage of the buildings. Within 12 months of them opening, we are busy during peak hours from 5 to close. We are still using all of our school facilities for our basketball program. We'll be using school facilities for our volleyball program. And the usage has been beyond what we had anticipated. And if you were to ask me today what would we have done differently, we would have made the concession space a little bit bigger. We would have added a couple more in the restrooms, some stalls, and then we probably would have requested an additional 2 to 4 additional court spaces in the gyms. So, and there's also a movement within the Southern Kentucky area. There are multiple departments now looking at design concepts of facilities, kind of modeling the design plans that we have been able, through your all support, to do. And so I think recreation is pretty strong and is growing within our 10-county area, and local communities are seeing the benefit, not just from quality of life, but then also from the economic standpoint of what nice facilities that are accessible to all can provide, not just to the constituents, but to citizens visiting communities and families and people that want to come out and have a nice, fun time. So.
Yeah. We're actually, over the next 2 months, I'm planning a number of retreats for discussion purposes and for analysis of all of our different departments. But the one for the parks, I'm planning on about a 2-day retreat to travel to a number of communities from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, just so we can look at best practices in recreation facilities and help us out on the master plan process quite a bit. But in a way, it's rewarding to see that these brand new gyms that we built are full all the time. And in another way, it's a little bit discouraging because we didn't build them big enough, because like last night, my granddaughter is 8 years old out playing basketball at Ephraim White last night at 9 o'clock at night on a school night. And that's because those are the only slots that were available. And Chris tells me we're actually not able to accommodate all the requests for use in those new gym facilities. So what I would have done differently, and I respect everything that Chris said about restrooms and concession area and so forth, but we needed to double the space in both of those gyms, which can make you feel good or it can make you feel discouraged. It doesn't really discourage me. It just I'm a little disappointed that we didn't hit the mark. But I'm very happy that they're full all the time and being used by the people throughout Warren County. Anyway, I thank you. Any other questions about this agenda item? Do we have a motion? A motion approved. Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve the appointment of Greg Burrell as the Warren County Alcohol Beverage Control Administrator.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Okay, you got two enemies on this committee apparently. No, Greg's doing a great job in that capacity right now, and we don't anticipate this to be a huge undertaking, but if it becomes that, we may need to revisit his compensation, because we don't need to pile a whole lot more on him. But anyway, I think he's the appropriate person, and I appreciate the fact that you can count on him to get it done right.
So has he become our liquor czar?
Yeah, he'll be our liquor czar. Yeah, I guess that's right. But he takes it very seriously and is very responsible with it. I'm very happy to appoint Greg as the ABC Administrator for Warren County. Do you have a motion and a second? Do you have another question?
Well, I'm curious as to have we issued some license yet?
We haven't issued
Liquor
any
licenses.
licenses yet, but we have
We do have one application in.
we have one application in so far. We've had a few calls, but only one application.
Squire Young brought up a good point, wanted to make sure he was old enough to serve in this role.
All right, any other questions, discussion? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next item is to approve the claims. Will the treasurer please present the claims to court?
General Fund, $503,969. Road Fund, $74,864. Jail Fund, $306,805. And Stormwater Fund, $20,420. Be happy to answer any questions.
We have a motion to approve. Motion by Squire Lawrence. Second by Squire McWhorter. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman. Esquire Young.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Yates is not here, right? I don't see Lynette. Jailer Harmon? Sheriff Hightower? Mr. Comer? Mr. Moore, how are you? Great.
The last meeting, Mr. Young asked a question about how many road miles the county's been accepting in the maintenance. And Ben and his staff, P&Z, put together this map. Just to give you guys a quick summary of it, you'll see that, in 2014 and 15, we're only accepting about a half mile of road a year. But you got to remember that we typically don't accept roads until 2 or 3 years after the subdivision, so to speak, is built before they come back to us for acceptance. So, those 14 numbers were kind of coming out of a slow time. So they've been ramping up drastically, and the unaccepted roads list you've got right there, I would anticipate at least half, if not more of those, to come up for acceptance this year. So we'll probably add 5-6 more miles this year. We're pushing over 800 miles of county road right now, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So
Over 800 miles of county roads.
it's close, yeah. I don't have a firm number on it.
And then the state roads are about 200 miles?
Yeah, 250. And one thing to keep in mind too is all these new county roads that we're accepting, it's a little different. They're curb and gutter with sidewalk and storm sewer. We're not building the old rural roads anymore, so it's a different maintenance responsibility that we've accepted. So it's just something to think about as we look at how we move forward with things. It's just,
Yeah.
I think times are changing. So
It's a big job for our county road staff to maintain that many miles of road and for our sheriff's department to patrol that many miles of county and state roads. But it's a high-grade problem. Okay, Mr. Young? Mr. Pearson? Mr. Branstetter couldn't be with us today. Mr. Appling? Mr. Peterson? Ms. Alexiff?
It's a gorgeous day, but it's cold. I want to first thank all of the magistrates, the judge, and other members of the staff for attending the charrette and presentation of conceptual master plan for Beautify 65. We hope to be able to show that video here at some point in fiscal court. I only ask that someone besides the Operation Pride staff make sure it's set up, if you don't mind. Also, anyone in the community can view that video a couple of ways. One is to just do a search for Operation Pride Beautify 65 video, and it should come up as an option. You can also look on our webpage, which is on the Warren County webpage, and we appreciate that in-kind contribution. It would be very expensive for us to be able to maintain a website. So even though we're a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, we appreciate the in-kind benefits that we have with the city and the county. So you can look that up on that as well, and we welcome everybody in the community to do that. So I just wanted to say thank you and encourage people to look at it. Johnny Webb has dreamed of this for years. So it's a big dream, and we're going to make it come true. So have a great day.
I'm real excited about it. Do we have copies of that full video to the media? I mean,
Yes, they
all have it.
They all have all had that. They've posted it, and we're also very appreciative of media being at the event as well as at the presentation. And we should have some numbers next month. The design is gorgeous, so we're looking forward to moving on.
The video tells a good story when you see the whole thing put together. It would be nice to have it as many places accessible to the general public.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Mr. Markram. Chief Bailey. Hiding back there. How are you, Kevin?
Good morning. I just want to do a really quick recap of the 2018 for all the volunteer fire departments last year, and I think y'all got a copy of this in your packet. In 2018, the Warren County Fire Departments did a total of 4,321 runs. Richardsville had the most, 1,020. Then it just everybody else's is on your total there. And the second sheet that you've got breaks down those runs by incident type as to what we were dispatched for. Some of these may have changed a little bit because this data here was pulled from dispatch, so we may have been dispatched for an accident with injury when there really wasn't an injury, but this gives you just a general idea of what types of runs we're responding to and the numbers. So, and it's already ramping up to be a busy year again this year. So,
the run totals at 4,321. Does that, you have it broken down, or maybe it's here and I just don't see it, broken down by how many were fire and how many were accidents, how many were home?
yeah, it's, if you don't have it, I can give you a copy.
332 fire.
It's on the back.
It's on the inside, back.
If not, I can get you my copy here.
I don't think I have that sheet.
Come on, we just can't give you everything, Joe. Fire's about right here.
Okay. I see what you're talking about.
So like just structure fires,
Yeah.
332 there.
Gotcha. Okay. There were 332 structure fires?
Yeah. And some of those could be a little bit misleading because we may have been dispatched for a structure fire, but on arrival it may have been a arcing electrical outlet or something like that when it truly wasn't a fire. So this is how we were, the type of incident we were actually dispatched for.
Well, most of these runs, are these counted if multiple stations showed up?
Yes.
are they counted as one run or counted in, let's say, 3 stations show
There'll be
up?
3 runs here.
There's 3
So,
runs,
yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
3
figured.
different incidents, yeah.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yep.
Is there anything, I've misplaced my paper. Is there anything on that tells us what happened last year or 5 years ago? Or
Yeah.
the progression of how these things are increasing throughout the county?
I don't have the data for 5 years ago, but I could probably get you the data for 2017. I've got it.
That would be
I just don't
interesting,
have
I
it with
think,
me.
for the court to
Yeah.
see how these runs.
Yeah, I can tell you it is going up, but
Yes.
yeah.
It's changed a great deal. The number of runs have gone up terrifically since I've been here, and why the runs were dispatched is totally different.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot bigger percentage of structure fires or field or wooded areas or something like that, but now
Now
big
it's just
numbers are
and
medical
stuff like
assist,
that.
yeah. And that seems to grow
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
One question I have on the alarm fire, 364 responses. I'm curious, how many of those were false alarms? Do you have any breakdown of that?
I don't have a breakdown. Would y'all agree with me? Probably, how many of the false alarms were truly false alarms? I'd say pretty close to 98, 99%, what y'all say? Yeah, I think, yeah. Very few times does a false alarm really turn into something.
Do you have certain customers with alarms that recur frequently?
Yes, yeah.
I live inside the city limits, and we're very careful about that. If you have more than, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
3, they start charging you for each one. But
Yeah, we have the repeat offenders.
I have some neighbors that are, I'm sure, are booking some pretty good expenses in that each year. But, I mean, any questions from Chief Bailey?
All right, thank y'all.
Hey,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you
for
so
y'all's
much.
support.
This is great. Just looking at these numbers, it's easy to tell that you guys aren't getting much sleep. So we appreciate you. I know that's, not only appreciate you, appreciate your families for partnering with you during all that time. I know it's a real commitment, and your individual communities, of course, appreciate it, but the community as a whole appreciates it very much. Let's see here. Squire McWhorter, you have anything you'd like to share?
Nope, just stay warm.
Squire Young?
Thank you, Judge. I would like to send out my personal condolences to the Rayburn Basham family and the condolences of the court at Rayburn's passing yesterday, and especially to his daughter Jessica. Rayburn was a good friend. He will be missed.
Squire Cummings?
Thank you, Judge. Got a couple of things. A reminder that the Allenton Fire Department Dinner and Awards is tonight at Highland Staples. If anybody's planning on going to that. Been blessed to kind of be getting, I'm a new guy on the block, but I really want to thank all the department heads that have met with me over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and especially want to call out a couple of people. Don't like to, they all do a great job, but and particularly Chris Coomer. He's right. He said 24/7. That boy never go. I was worried about his home life. He works all the time. So thank you for doing that, Chris. Then Josh Moore. I've had a couple interesting calls from different constituents, and he was able to jump on that and get me some answers right away. And that I can tell you, as a magistrate, it's extremely important to have the support of these guys to get us the answers that we need to be able to help our citizens. So I want to thank them very much for that.
our department heads do a tremendous job. We appreciate all you all. And sometimes I worry about Chris working. I don't know that you're actually legally able to work or even physically able to work as 24 hours a day, but he's pretty close to it.
Well, the one night we met, we was out at 8 o'clock at night doing
Yeah.
stuff, so it was.
Yeah, that's
very-
not unusual. Squire Payne,
Thank you, Judge.
Squire Lawrence,
Thank you, Judge.
Squire Gorman.
Well, sorry, Judge, I do have a few things to say today. So
It's always
It's
dangerous.
a shocker, I know. But I am going to call out, after a meeting like today, I'm going to call out a couple of department heads. One, Sheriff Hightower had a great event up here, and I think it was well needed, a meet and greet thing. What a great thing he's done. So that's an awesome thing for the county, something proud of. Chris, I always love anyone who, it's easy to think about what we're doing this year, but a 10-year plan, 5-year plan like that, we've got to think about the future, and so thank you, Chris, for your leadership on doing that. Jailer Harmon, I struggle with having to compliment him, but, you know, but if we really think about things, we have, there's two ways to do things. He has a job to do, and he doesn't get a chance to see who his customers are. They just come to him because they're ordered to go there. And he can keep the doors locked and feed them, and that'd be the end of it. Or he can try to make a difference in their lives. And in the last 2 years, we've had more media coverage and more public things that Stephen Harmon has done to change the recidivism rate and the change in these people's attitudes. I've spent a lot of time with Greg Coker, and this is an unbelievable thing that Stephen is doing to not only change the jail staff, but most importantly, his customers and their chance of success in life. And I'm proud of that. It's one of our largest budget items. If anyone wants to take a look at the Warren County budget of what we have to spend at the jail. But for Stephen to do his best to hopefully not have the same people in there all the time makes a difference. Stephen, it's a great thing you're doing, and thank you for representing the county like you do. And then finally, congratulations to Greg. The irony is not lost on me on the ABC board. That's good.
Jailer Harmon, you said that there was one other county that had, what other county is this? Yeah, okay. Ms. Milliken?
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir. Mr. Burrow? Mr. Administrator?
Thanks, Judge.
Ms. Hale?
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Smith?
Thank you.
Is there any other business to be brought before this body?
Judge, since seems like this is the morning to throw out thank yous, I would like to thank Jerry Young for the fine job that he did this past week in taking care of our county roads and keeping my phone calls to a minimum. I appreciate that very much. Jerry does an outstanding job. He's got the county laid out in such a way that he knows where he needs to send people. It seems like before the weatherman does.
Yeah.
So I talked to Jerry very early Sunday morning. He had been out since 11:30 Saturday night. So thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we all appreciate you, Jerry. I know that every time it snows, and I get everyone around me going, gosh, I hope it snows a lot. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, God, I hope it doesn't snow at all. Because you guys are out there not only cold, but you're also putting yourselves at risk out on those slick roads and running off the roadways and cars breaking down in the bitter cold and a lot of times without any sleep. And we do appreciate it.
I'd like to ditto
you and all
that.
the guys.
I'd like to ditto what Mark said because I had 0 phone calls.
Really?
That's unusual, yeah. So you did a good job.
He had 0 phone calls the first time. You're finally getting the hang of it, Jerry.
And I had compliments of the county road department too.
Our next court meeting is Monday, February 4th, 2019, at 9 a.m. I just want to remind you all, because we amended the 2019 meeting calendar, and the old calendar, which I understand is still on the website, still says the 1st. It's not the 1st. It's the 4th, 9 a.m. There's no other business to be brought before this body. We have a motion to adjourn by Squire Lawrence and a second by Squire Gorman.